8.3.30. Once the Exalted One was staying among the Bhagis on Crocodile Hill at the Deer Park in Besakala Grove. Now at that time the Venerable Anuruddha was dwelling among the Chetis in the eastern bamboo forest, and there these reflections occurred to him as he dwelt alone and secluded. This Dhamma is for one who wants little. This Dhamma is not for one who wants much. This Dhamma is for the contented, not for the discontented. This Dhamma is for the aloof, not for one fond of society. This Dhamma is for the energetic, not for the lazy. This Dhamma is for one who has set up mindfulness, not for the laggard in mindfulness. This Dhamma is for the concentrated, not for the unconcentrated. This Dhamma is for the wise, not for the unwise. Now the Exalted One, knowing these reflections of the Venerable Anuruddha, as easily as a strong man might stretch forth and bend back his arm, it disappeared from the Deer Park or Besakala Grove and appeared before him. And the Exalted One sat down on the seat which was made ready. Then the Venerable Anuruddha saluted him and sat down at one side. So seated, the Exalted One addressed him thus: well done, Anuruddha. Well have you pondered over the 7 thoughts of a great man. That is to say, this Dhamma is for one who wants little, not for one who wants much, for the contented, not for the discontented, for the aloof, not for one who is fond of society, for the energetic, not for the lazy, for one who has set up mindfulness, not for the laggard therein, for the concentrated, not for the unconcentrated, for the wise, not for the unwise. But Anuruddha, do you also ponder over this 8th thought of a great man, namely, this Dhamma is for the composed, and for one who delights in being composed. This Dhamma is not for the scatterbrained, or for him who delights in being scatterbrained. When Anuruddha, you ponder over these 8 thoughts of a great man, you may and you will enter and abide in the first jhana, or in the second jhana, or in the third jhana, or in the 4th jhana. When Anuruddha, you ponder over these 8 thoughts of a great man and obtain easily, at will and without trouble, these 4 jhanas of the higher mind, bringing comfort both here and now, then will your dust-heaped robe seem to you as seems a clothes chest full of many-colored garments, to some householder or to some householder's son, a thing designed to satisfy, for joy, for health, for well-being, for faring to the cool. When you ponder thus, then will your scraps of alms food seem to you as seems a mess of rice, cleaned of black grains, served with curries and condiments, to some householder or his son, a thing designed to satisfy. Then will your lodging at the root of some tree seem to you as seems a gabled house, all plastered over, with doors barred and shutters closed, draught-free, to a householder, a thing designed to satisfy. Then will your bed and seat, bestrewn with grass, seem to you as seems a divan or divan, with a fleecy cover, woolen cloth or coverlet, spread with rugs of deer skins, with awnings over it, with crimson cushions at either end, to a householder, a thing designed to satisfy. And when Anuruddha, you ponder over these 8 thoughts of a great man, and attain easily, at will and without trouble, to these 4 jhanas of the higher mind, bringing comfort both here and now, then will your medicine of strong-smelling urine seem to you as seems the varied medicines, butter, fresh and clarified, oil, honey, and the juice of sugar, to some householder, a thing designed to satisfy, for joy, for health, for well-being, for faring to the cool. Wherefore, Anuruddha, dwell here in this eastern bamboo forest among the Chetis during the coming rainy season. And the Venerable Anuruddha replied, Yes, Lord, to the Exalted One. Then the Exalted One, when he had charged the Venerable One with this counsel, as a strong man might bend or stretch forth his arm, vanished from the Cheti's eastern bamboo forest and appeared in the deer park of Besakala Grove on Crocodile Hill among the Bagis. Now the Exalted One sat down on the seat which was made ready and spoke to the monks thus: Monks, I will make known to you the 8 thoughts of a great man. Listen, give heed, I will speak. Yes, Lord, they replied. And the Exalted One said, Monks, what are these 8? This Dhamma is for one who wants little, not for one who wants much. For the contented, not for the discontented. For the aloof, not for one who is fond of society. For the energetic, not for the lazy. For one who has set up mindfulness, not for the unmindful. For the concentrated, not for the unconcentrated. For the wise, not for the unwise. For the composed, and for one who delights in being composed, not for the scatterbrained, or for one who delights therein. Monks, this Dhamma is for one who wants little. This Dhamma is not for one who wants much. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, a monk wanting little does not wish, may they know me as wanting little, or being contented, or being given to being aloof, or energetic, or mindful, or concentrated, or wise, or delighting in being composed, does not wish, may they know me as such. Monks, this Dhamma is for one who wants little. This Dhamma is not for one who wants much. So what is said on that account. Monks, this Dhamma is for the contented. This Dhamma is not for the discontented. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, a monk is contented with each requisite, robe, alms, lodging, the medicines for illness. So what is said on that account. Monks, this monk is for the aloof. This Dhamma is for the aloof. This Dhamma is not for one who is fond of society. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, while a monk dwells in seclusion, there come visitors, namely monks and nuns, lay brothers and lay sisters, rajas and their chief ministers, course setters and their disciples. Then the monk, with heart inclined towards seclusion, leaning towards seclusion, bending towards seclusion, abiding in seclusion, and delighting in renunciation, entirely confines his talk to the subject of going apart. So what is said on that account. Monks, this Dhamma is for the energetic. This Dhamma is not for the lazy. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, a monk abides stirred to energy to be rid of unwholesome states and to take to wholesome states, firm and steadfast. He lays not aside the burden of wholesomeness. So what is said on that account. Monks, this Dhamma is for one who sets up mindfulness. This Dhamma is not for the unmindful. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, a monk is mindful. He is endowed in the highest degree with intentness of mind and recollection. He recollects and calls to mind both the doings and the sayings of long ago. So what is said on that account. Monks, this Dhamma is for the concentrated. This Dhamma is not for the unconcentrated. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, a monk aloof from sense desires, etc., enters and abides in the first jhana, in the second, third, fourth jhana. So what is said on that account. Monks, this Dhamma is for the wise. This Dhamma is not for the unwise. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, a monk is wise. He is wise as to the way of growth and decay, with Aryan penetration into the way to the complete destruction of dukkha. So what is said on that account. And to continue, the Buddha said, monks, this Dhamma is for the composed, and for one who delights in being composed. This Dhamma is not for the scatterbrained, or for him who delights in being scatterbrained. Thus it is said. But why is this said? Herein, monks, the heart of a monk leaps up at the thought of the ending of being scattered, becomes calm, composed and free. This Dhamma is for the composed, and for one who delights in being composed. This Dhamma is not for the scatterbrained, or for him who delights therein. So what is said on that account. And the Venerable Anuruddha dwelt among the Chetis in the eastern bamboo forest for the duration of the rainy season. There, dwelling alone, secluded, earnest, zealous, resolute, he attained not long after in this world, by his own knowledge, the realization of that unsurpassed consummation of the holy life, for the sake of which sons of clansmen rightly go forth from their homes to the homeless life. He realized, birth is destroyed, lived is the holy life, done is what had to be done, there is no more of this to come. And the Venerable Anuruddha was numbered among the Arahants. That's the end of the sutta. It's a very good sutta for a person to practice the 8 thoughts of a great man. In the initial part of the sutta, the Buddha said that if a monk practices, ponders over these 8 thoughts of a great man and attains the 4 jhanas, then all his requisites, even though they are simple robe or simple scraps of food and lodging under a tree, all these will become to him as being very comfortable and very satisfying, because if he attains the 4 jhanas, then he has a very blissful abiding in this very life. So all these simple things to him becomes as enjoyable as a rich man enjoys all the things of the household life. And it's mentioned here also that medicine of strong smelling urine. You notice here this is one of the places where it's mentioned, but in the Vinaya books for a monk, it is stated that when a monk takes the ordination, he is told by the preceptor that if he were to be sick, then he has to take urine. Here is stated to be strong smelling urine, and it is explained in the Vinaya books that a monk is supposed to take his urine and keep it for 7 days with medicinal fruits. Some medicinal fruits, you cut them and put them into the urine and keep for 7 days. And urine is one thing. If you as soon as it comes out and you drink it, it's not so smelly. But if you keep it for a few days, it becomes smelly. And urine is a very good medicine which works for most illnesses. For most illnesses, if we take it, it does work. Then the later part of the sutta talks with how to practice the 8 thoughts of a great man. A great man is a Mahapurisa. Mahapurisa. The first one is the Dhamma is for one who wants little or few wants. And it is said because a monk has few wants, he does not want people to know that he has a good practice. He's not one who blows his trumpet. He's being modest, so he does not want people to know his accomplishments. That's basically what is meant by a monk who have few wants. The second one, he is contented, means he's contented with his requisites, whatever robe, alms, food, lodging, medicine that he's given, he is satisfied, contented. And then the practice of aloofness is a monk dwells usually in seclusion or in a secluded monastery, and when lay people or even monastics come to talk to him, then he limits his talk so that he can go aside to practice meditation. That is what is meant by being aloof. There are 2 types of aloofness or seclusion. One is bodily seclusion. In this case, they're talking about bodily seclusion. Another one is mental seclusion, where a monk practices to get rid himself of the defilements. And if he rids himself of the defilements, then that is mental seclusion. And then after that, this Dhamma is for the energetic. And it's stated here, energetic means he practices to get rid of unwholesome states and to take to wholesome states. For this, wholesome states and unwholesome states refer to the mental states. And if we want to get rid of unwholesome states and to attain to wholesome states, we have to watch our mind all the time. Watching the mind is more important than watching the body. And the practice of meditation or contemplation is always to watch these two things. Watch the mind and watch the body. But the mind is more important because the ego arises in the mind. And practice of meditation is not to watch outside things, especially the 5 sense doors of seeing, hearing, smelling, taste and touch. We're not supposed to watch those, as stated in the suttas. This Dhamma is for one who sets up mindfulness, not for one who is unmindful. And here it is stated, he is endowed in the highest degree with intentness of mind and recollection. He recollects and calls to mind both the doings and sayings of long ago. In the suttas, the definition of sati is always the ability to recall what you have done and said a long time ago. So this word sati, we always know sati as mindfulness, but we have to be very careful because that is only a translation. The real word sati means the ability to remember. And in meditation, what we have to remember is to contemplate the nature of body and mind. That's one aspect. Contemplate the nature of body and mind, not on external things. To put your mindfulness on body and mind, because that is the source of the self, the 5 khandhas. That is one thing. The other thing is when you are contemplating body and mind, you have to be with the present, stay with the present, not running into the past or into the future by thinking. We're not supposed to be thinking when we are practicing contemplation. And also, the other thing we have to remember when we practice sati is to remember that this body and this mind is not I, not mine, not myself. To try to see that the body and mind is not self, basically. And then the next one, this Dhamma is for the concentrated, not for the unconcentrated. And here the Buddha defines a person who is concentrated as one who attains the 4 jhanas. Usually the definition of samadhi, concentration, is the 4 jhanas. Sometimes it is said to be one-pointedness of mind, which means even the first jhana. But generally the 4 jhanas are necessary because it is stated in the suttas that when a person attains the 4th jhana, then things become very clear to him. Yata bhuta jnana, yata bhuta vipassisung is he sees things as they really are. And that is at the state of the 4th jhana. But some people, because they have a lot of wisdom, they are very sharp. Even by attaining the 1st jhana, they can attain. And then after that, this Dhamma is for the wise. And the wise is defined as a person who understands the nature of arising and ceasing of everything in the world. Everything in the world arises and passes away because of impermanence. And so he understands the nature of impermanence. And so he understands the nature of dukkha, because impermanence brings about dukkha. Then this Dhamma is for the composed, not for the scatterbrained. This I've used this translation, scatterbrain. The Pali word has to do with papancha, which means the proliferation of the mind. That means a person who thinks a lot, uses the mind a lot, because you have one thought and it multiplies. That's the meaning of papancha, proliferation. And to overcome that proliferation of the mind, we have to practice samadhi, because it is stated in the Sakkapanha Sutta that thinking, there is a happiness associated with thinking. We like to think. Generally, people like to think and like to imagine. That's why we like to see TV. I like to see shows and all that, because there's a story. So that's because of thinking we get that delight and happiness. But the Buddha said there is a higher happiness, and the higher happiness is the happiness that comes from a state of no thinking. In the state of no thinking is actually the state of the second jhana. The state of the second jhana is also called the state of the Aryan silence, where vitaka and vichara has ceased. And you have piti and sukha. Piti and sukha is delight and pleasure, which is a higher form of happiness than the happiness you get from thinking and imagining and daydreaming, etc. So only then can you let go of that happiness of thinking, and you don't think so much. So these are the ways of practicing the 8 thoughts of a great man. And they are very practical advice.